Hello everyone, I'm Jay and welcome back to my channel. Today we're discussing, well, not really discussing, but it's my story, right? Somebody asked me other day, how did I end up here? So I thought, it's a good point to tell you my story, right? So let's start from India. Basically, I'm from India, Hyderabad, Telugu guy, and I have done my BTech near Hyderabad, and my BTech was the specialism was computer science bachelor's, right? But I was not really a good student. I was really good in my school to a point. My school management expected me to score a state rank at the time. That was I passed out my 10th class in 2000s, right? I was really good at school, but I did my schooling in Telugu medium. Then I switched to English medium in the intermediate. My childhood dream was to become a doctor. I always said to myself I will become a doctor, but when I switched to English medium in intermediate, I was so scared of taking the BPC, so I took MPC and I pursued a different path. Right, long story short. But anyway, so and then I wasn't a really good student in my bachelor's. I was really bad student, and I didn't really go to much of the college, and I used to spend lots of time with friends and all that. All right, I did my BTech for 5 years, so you can imagine, supposed to be 4 years, and then I tried for USA visa. I did GRE, TOEFL. I scored well, I think, and I went to Chennai for 3 times for US visa. All 3 times I got rejected. And then I came back and I worked in one of my family business. I did really well there. I made some good money, and then I thought, you know what, this is not US visa is not working out. So I'll apply for UK visa, and I along with one of my friends, we applied for a UK visa. And at the time, Scotland was doing 2 years work permit after the masters, so I decided to come to Scotland. I didn't know anyone. Still applied. I think Napier University at the time was holding a workshop in Hyderabad. I went to the workshop. They said a few different courses, and advanced computer networking sounded closer to the computer science degree I did. So I just signed up for it. I didn't know what it was. Anyway, by this time you will know how I have done things in the past, right? So anyway, we went through process the documentation and whatnot. I got the visa, and at the time Orkut was famous. I'm not sure if you remember Orkut. This was before Facebook, and I got in touch with somebody in Edinburgh. These Orkut groups and stuff, and he said, hey, it's fine. I will let me know when your flight is. I will receive you in Edinburgh, and I actually got in touch with two people. One of them is my friend of my friend's brother. So they both turned up at the airport, and then they received me fine. So the guy who received me, I still remember us. We still talk, still good friends. He's not in here anymore. He's went back to India, but he got me a job within a week as well. So a part-time job. So I landed on 3rd of October 2007, and by 10th of October I was working in Shell Garage for night shifts. So that was good. And then by this time I was 2 weeks late to my course. So when I went to my course, my course leader called me in and asked me a few questions about networking. But just before that, I asked one of my seniors, who was the flatmate of the guy who received me, and he said, I asked him, oh, course leader asked me to come over to his office. So what can I expect? And he said, he might ask you a couple of questions. So maybe read what the OSI layer is, and just read before you go. And then I did exactly that, and he asked me exactly that. I answered the question, and he thought I was brilliant. So he said, just go to your class, don't be late, right? And then I went in. Um, Man, I had no clue. This was the advanced computers and networking was pretty much everything was Cisco, and by this time I had no clue. But somehow I managed to get through. There were a couple of guys in my class who are from Bombay, were still good friends just to even today, and they pulled me through, right? Uh, so, and then I took up a job at Morrison's at some point. So I was working a couple of jobs, Shell and Morrison's, and then life was smooth. We went on so many trips with friends. I was the only guy who knows how to drive the car at the time. So any of my friends wants to go on a trip, they used to call me, and I was the dedicated driver. But we had good fun, right? Especially going on trips and stuff. Not much of the nightclubs and things, but we had some good fun with drinking and everything as well. But yeah, so to a point, Morrison's, when I was working at Morrison's, I hated my supervisor at Morrison's. Well, she wasn't my supervisor all the time. So she only came in the last few months, and she didn't take a good liking to me, and I didn't take a good liking to her, and we fell out. And literally one day I thrown my apron and hat, and I just went out of the store, and that was the beginning of my inner what do you say, inner geo or something like that. It's bubbling inside. And now I graduated from my masters in November, and I was still working at Shell, and I took on another job, third job in Royal Mail, the festive jobs, three jobs, and then finished Royal Mail in January. And I remember in February I was working at Shell Garage, not my regular Shell Garage, but a different one, and I had a drive off, and next day they warned me, and I made this in a separate video as well. I told this story. So my supervisor was being cheeky, and she actually opened the letter and then read out the whole letter in front of me while I was standing there, and she was giggling. So as soon as she finished the letter, I asked her, "Do you have a white paper, A4 white paper?" And she said, "Why? Just give me one." And she said she gave me one, and I just wrote my resignation letter there and then and gave it to her. She thought I was joking. "Are you joking?" I said, "No, I'm serious. I would like to finish it, and I would like to, leave this Friday if possible." And and then she realized I was serious. So that's how I finished my Shell job as well. But now my inner whatever you call it is, it's bubbling even further, right? And by this time, I think I told this story earlier. I went to RBS, and there was an incident happened. I was so inspired by this, and I was like so motivated, and I wanted to get a proper skilled full-time job. And this Shell incident happened, and then I went back home, and my goal was only one thing and one thing only, that is to get a proper job, right? Proper skilled job. And I started applying for network roles, and then I switched my stream to IT support. Again, I told this story before. Please do go and watch it. And then after 4 months of struggle, I landed a job in Aberdeen. Meanwhile, I gave up at some point, and I actually applied for a student visa to America again. By this time, my student visa got rejected my student visa got rejected 3 times, and then I applied for a visitor visa, which got rejected twice, and this is my 6th time applying for student visa again, right? So, but anyway, long story short, in July of 2010, I got my job in Aberdeen. I started my job on the 19th of July 2010, and my interview for the US student visa, American student visa, was on 27th. I think it was Tuesday, 27th of July 2010. This time I went to Belfast, not the London embassy. So Belfast, I was actually so confident because I already have a job. The guy asked me a few questions, and I answered, and he gave me the visa. I got the visa, right? This is 6th time, but I got the visa. But I decided not to go because I just started a job, and that's all I wanted. So I thought, right, I'll work for 6 months and I'll go later. So I emailed the university. I said I want to defer it to the next sem, and they said fine. And there is a funny thing happened after that. That university actually came up in the news as a fraud. I'll share that story another time, but I dodged a bullet there. And I started my job as an IT technician. I worked my way up. I became an IT manager. I worked there for 7 years. Company grown a lot in that time. The company I worked for, and then out of those 7 years, I spent 5 years on a Tier 2 general visa, which is now called skilled worker visa. And then after that, I got my ILR and then British citizenship. Funny thing, right? I got my ILR visa, so I went to the same day appointment, um, and I went to the appointment on a Friday, and then following Monday I resigned. Literally following Monday. So I was so eager to leave. I had great fun. I mean, great colleagues, great company, and everything. But I just wanted to go and do my own thing. Um, I left. So I will make a separate video on how I started my business and everything. But it's been 6 years, around 6 years since I left the job. I don't regret it. And in fact, my visa didn't allow me to do this. But if it did, my only regret is I should have done this earlier. But yeah, I'll make another video. Somebody asked me this morning how I started. Do I have so much money? Is my family well off and all that? We actually started the business with £1,000, just £1,000. I actually shown him the screenshot as well. That £1,000 went down to £210 in March, the 17th of March, 2017. Yeah, so we grown that £210 to whatever we grown it to today. We have few employees, and by the end of this year, we will be 15 employees in total, and we have revenue goals and everything, right? But I hope that's my story, right? I'm now settled in Aberdeen. Family is here. I have kids and a decent business. One thing I learned over the years is ask for help. If you can do this on your own, it's fine. But if you can get somebody's help, you can do it quicker, right? Ask for help. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. Don't give up, right? I given up, but again I came back with a with a strong force. Only a month later, and then attended 4 interviews in just 10 days, and I got my job. Don't give up, right? Improve yourself, optimize. Right? If something's not working, look back. What's not working? Ask somebody's help if need be, and then optimize, and move on. Optimize the process, right? I hope that helps. But if you have any comments, questions, please do leave them below. Do like and subscribe. I make content around finding jobs after masters in the UK. That's my expertise. Please do leave a comment, and please do like and subscribe. Right? Thank you so much, and all the best.